What's up, everybody? Welcome back to GG Dig Site. Today we're coming back to a very small box two-player game, Totemic from Kolossal Games, game by Chris Ham. And one thing that I will tell you is this was a clearance game I picked up from a local game shop. I wasn't crazy optimistic about it. I figured, hey, you know, this may be the first game that isn't reviewed quite as well as some of the other ones have been, but I was pleasantly surprised. So Totemic has a one-player mode, but it's primarily designed for two players. About 15 to 30-minute playtime, ages 14 and up for the play. I would say that's pretty accurate. There's some mechanics in there that require some thought processes going through it, and then some reading. That you could help a little one through or a younger one through, but I wouldn't spend a lot of time doing that. Still got the punch outs in there and the instructions, right? First thing I'll talk about as far as review of the game, this totem thing, right? Totem spinner, you don't really need it. I feel like this is cool. It could have just been flat and fit a lot nicer, but I don't really see this as being necessary to the actual enjoyment of the game. You have this token here that tells you who's kind of in charge of that turn, and then you have these sets of cards. Basically, you choose a class, we'll call it, right, a totem, that's going to represent your special skill that you have in the game, and then there are some particular skills to your totem that go into the group pile, and then essentially you go through this kind of like the card game war-ish type concept where you have a couple of options on the turn. You can challenge an opponent, and then that goes into this series of challenging back with a threat or submitting and taking some damage, or just duking it out, or you can take a couple of other actions to try and either regain power or, you know, earn different attributes that you're trying to get in order to overtake the other player. Played several different ones of the totems. It does seem to me that they're a little bit, they can get unbalanced if you don't really know, like the first time you're going through it, if you don't really know exactly what you're up against, you can easily pick an unbalanced pairing and just kind of get waylaid. Whereas if you have an idea of like how powerful each of the special actions is going to be, it helps you balance it out with a meaningful pairing. This was a big surprise for me. This was a lot of fun. It got a little bit like competitive, and all of a sudden it just took off. And it was like, well, I'm going to threaten you. Well, I'm going to threaten you back. And all of a sudden the stakes are getting pretty high, and people are having to make decisions about, am I really going to try to enter into this fight or not? And what do I have in my hand? And then you're trying to like track what your opponent has and things like that. So a lot more little strategy pieces included than I thought there would be for such a small box with just basically cards. I would say if you are someone who plays a lot of two-player games, or if you have a lot of instances where a two-player game comes up and you're tired of things like, you know, patchwork or whatever that you have that's, you know, kind of the mainstream two-player stuff, this is an interesting little change-up. I bought this on clearance. You can probably find it, you know, other places for relatively affordable, but as far as this goes, I would recommend this. I don't think this is necessarily for everybody, because I know a lot of people don't play two-player games. But sometimes, you know, even if you're playing in a game group, you have that instance where a couple of people are out on a 6-player game or maybe on a 4-player game, and you can just toss over some of your 2 players and just add this to your stack. If you're a collector who's into different themes and things, this definitely applies. I haven't really seen much out there in terms of this theming, and so I think that's another cool aspect too, with the art and the theme being true to that. So I would definitely say check out Totemic. It's definitely worth the risk for the cost that I paid for it, and it came out to be a pretty neat little 2-player game. So yeah, that is Totemic. If reviews and things are something that interests you, please be sure to leave us a like and subscribe. It really helps us know what kind of things you guys want to see. Until next time, GG's.